Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto had the Byakugan and Sharingan, part 2, subscribe if you enjoy the video, let's start the story. Well Heishi, I think I better explain what's happening whilst Tsunade collects what she needs, said Naruto kneeling in front of the Hyuga head. The Hokage has asked that I accompany the Iro Senin Jiraiya to find Lady Tsunade and ask her to be the next Hokage. And I have requested that Hinata accompany us, as he explained. Very well then, I assume that he intends to teach you something along the way. Will Hinata also be allowed to learn it if she can? Asked Heishi, concerned that Hinata would be going along for no reason other than to keep Naruto company and would miss out on an opportunity to train, although when he thought about it, Naruto would train on his own if need be. And likely would have Hinata train with him, which would help her gain more skill with the new Byakugan. He still didn't know what it was called. He made a mental note to ask Naruto at a later time. Even if he won't train her himself, I'll train with her and do my best to teach her any techniques he teaches me, said Naruto, hoping that it would be enough. How would you like Hinata to be able to summon foxes? I'm sure that damn pervert would try and make her sign the contract for toads if she doesn't, said the voice. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea, but that's only if she wants to sign it, so how would I go about it? Asked Naruto. Don't worry about it now, I'll tell you when we get to your flat, said the voice. Alright then, please take care of her, Naruto, said Heishi. Of course sir, replied Naruto, bowing. Just then Hinata came into the room. I'm ready to go, Naruto. Goodbye father, she said. Have a safe trip, replied Heishi. Then the two genin bowed and left. Welcome to my home, Hinata, said Naruto as he opened the door. His apartment was spotless. Of course that was because after Hinata had gone in to get her things on his way to speak to Heishi, Naruto had created a shadow clone and sent it to clean his apartment. When it arrived, it created another 4 shadow clones, and they quickly got to work making sure that it was clean and tidy. He didn't want Hinata to see his home in its usual state. It's nice, Naruto, said Hinata. Naruto, sighing mentally that his clones had done a good enough job and she liked it. He resolved to make sure that it wouldn't get into that state again. I'm glad you like it, Hinata replied, Naruto moving towards his bedroom to pack his things. Naruto, said Hinata, Naruto thinking that she wanted somewhere to sit and wait for him cut in before she continued. If you go through the second door, there's a sofa you can sit on, he said. Actually, Naruto, said Hinata, blushing lightly and tapping her extended index fingers together. Naruto looked out of his room. What is it, Hinata? He asked. Hinata was struggling, but decided that since he was the one that had basically asked her on their first date, she would take a chance. Are we going out now? She asked, turning a shade of red previously only seen on tomatoes. If that's what you want, Hinata, said Naruto, turning back into his room to continue collecting his things before hearing a loud thud from his hallway. He looked out again to see that Hinata had fainted again, so he walked into the hallway, picked her up bridal style, and then carried her back into his room, gently laying her his bed before continuing to collect his things. They still had around an hour, so he was in no rush to wake her before he was ready to go. 5 minutes later, Hinata woke up, not quite sure where she was. Then she remembered asking Naruto if they were going out, and then on remembering his reply, she once again blushed the red of a tomato, but didn't faint. She decided it best to find out where she was, since she was quite sure she wasn't still in the hall. Upon realizing that she was laying on a bed and promptly putting 2 and 2 together and realizing it was in fact Naruto's bed, she promptly fainted again. So how do I let Hinata sign the summoning contract for foxes? Asked Naruto. Simple, write the kanji for white fox on your left arm. I'm going to give her a slightly different one to yours. You can summon any kind of fox, even the black and the water-based blue foxes to your aid, but Hinata is going to be able to summon white and blue foxes. They aren't as powerful as the red or black in outright strength, but they are faster and quicker to adapt to match what the summoner needs them for, as well as being somewhat more tactful than cunning, replied the voice. Naruto did as he was told and wrote the kanji for white fox on his left arm. Now what? He asked. Normally, to create a summoning contract you would need a drop of blood from the kind of animal for the contract, but since I am god of the foxes and my blood is mixed within your veins, by merely smearing your own blood on the kanji, you can summon any kind of contract that I choose to give you. In this case it will be for both the white and blue foxes, said the voice. Naruto then bit his thumb and smeared his blood across the kanji he had put on his arm. A poof of white smoke appeared, and when it cleared, the kanji on his arm was gone, and on the floor under his arm was a scroll. It was bigger than an average scroll, but not as big as the toad summoning scroll Jiraiya carried. Around 10 minutes later, Naruto had finished packing and was ready to go. All that was left was to wake Hinata, trying to think of the best way to wake her up. He didn't think that she'd be happy being slapped or soaked, and he no longer thought that shaking her was a very good idea either. Then the strangest idea, at least to him, came to him. He decided to kiss Hinata, and so he kneeled down next to the bed, leant over, and kissed Hinata on the lips, holding it. Hinata woke feeling someone kissing her. She didn't open her eyes immediately, she hoped it wasn't a dream, then her mind ran through last few events, and she opened her eyes wide in shock. It was then she realized that it was in fact Naruto kissing her. She felt her face once again glow red. But to her surprise she didn't faint, she slowly closed her eyes again and returned the kiss. After realizing that Hinata was awake and returning the kiss, Naruto held the kiss a little longer and then he pulled away looking down on Hinata, the blush now only lightly gracing her cheeks. "Thank you Naruto, that was the best wake up I've ever had," said Hinata, her eyes still closed. "You're welcome. Listen, how would you like to be able to summon creatures?" said Naruto, helping Hinata to sit up on the bed with her legs hanging at the side. "What kind of creatures, Naruto?" asked Hinata. "White and blue foxes," said Naruto. "Okay, how?" asked Hinata. "Just sign your name and blood on this scroll, and then put blood on your hand, and do these hand seals, slam your hand on the floor, and say summoning jutsu," said Naruto, performing this slowly so that Hinata could see it. Then there was a poof of white smoke. And a white fox with a black tips on its tail and ears around the same size as Akamaru appeared. "Hey, I'm Byakugan," said the fox, its voice was light and quite high. "It's so cute," said Hinata softly. "I like you," said Byakugan to Hinata. "Naruto, let me sign the contract," said Hinata. Naruto then lifted up the contract and unrolled it on the bed. Hinata bit her thumb and signed her name where Naruto pointed to on the contract. "Okay, now you try summoning Byakugan," said Naruto. As the fox disappeared, Hinata then smeared blood on her palm, as Naruto had done, and went through the seals, then put her hand on the bed, and a poof of smoke appeared again. "I'm back," said the small fox in a sing-song manner. "Wow, I did it," Naruto said Hinata happily. "Well done Hinata," said Naruto, hugging her. This caused her to blush crimson, but to her surprise she didn't faint. "Come on, I need to collect a few supplies before we need to go and meet Iro-Senin," said Naruto as he stood up and stretched out his hand to help Hinata up off the bed. Hinata accepted Naruto's waiting hand. Getting up off the bed, returned Byakugan to the summoning plane. And walking with Naruto to the front door, they picked up their bags, put their sandals on, and walked out the front door. 1 hour later at the main gate. "Where is he? He's almost as bad as Kakashi-sensei," said Naruto, standing next to Hinata holding her hand. "I'm sure there's a good reason why he's late," Naruto said Hinata quietly. "I doubt it, probably peeping on girls," said Naruto. He then activated his Fuengan and used the Byakugan part to look for the Toad Sage. As he was looking around, something caught his attention, but he couldn't quite see it even with the Byakugan. It had looked like someone who was invisible. And suppressing their chakra, he decided to double check, so he activated his infrared vision and checked the same place, and sure as day he saw the outline of Jiraiya radiating heat and walking towards them. A minute or so later he watched as Jiraiya walked past them. "What are you trying to do, Iro-Senin?" said Naruto, sounding anything but amused. Jiraiya was stunned. He knew even the Hyuga's Byakugan could only barely see him with his invisibility on, so Hinata shouldn't have been able to see him. Then he remembered that Naruto now had the Fuengan. And realized that was why he hadn't been able to sneak past. He could hide his chakra, but not his heat. "Should have known better than to try and sneak by a Fuengan user," said Jiraiya, standing with one hand scratching the back of his head. "Yeah, you should have," said Naruto. "Sorry to keep you waiting. Now before we go, have either of you ever trained with weights before?" asked Jiraiya. "No, Iro-Senin," said Naruto, a little confused. Hinata just shook her head. "Alright then, we'll starting now. You will each carry 5 kgs on each limb to begin with, and I'll increase to weights and when I see fit, you will also wear these vests. They absorb chakra, so you can't use it to help you carry to weights. Hinata, you will wear 1. And Naruto will wear 3, said Jiraiya, pulling 4 black vests and 8 weight bands out of his bag. "How come I have to wear more vests?" moaned Naruto. "Because you have a higher chakra capacity than anyone else your age, so this balances it out," said Jiraiya. Naruto and Hinata then took their jackets off and put the vests on, and then the wrist weights, then they put the ankle weights on. "Okay, Iro-Senin, we're done, now let's get going," said Naruto impatiently, and with that they set off along the road. Half an hour later. "So Iro-Senin, when are you going to teach us some new things?" asked Naruto. "We're going to start with some basic techniques, starting with the one I was using when I arrived at the main gate. It's an invisibility that's excellent for sneaking around and gathering information," said Jiraiya. "Why would we want to learn that?" asked Naruto, unsure about the true motives of the technique's creation. He did understand how it could be useful, just not to him. "Because Naruto, you need to learn the other elements of being a ninja. Yeah, so far your strategy of hit it till it breaks has worked so far, but that will not always be the case. It also makes it easy to escape to recover. As well as to sneak up on enemy shinobi even in the middle of battle. If timed correctly with some other event, you can make them think that you've put them one, even though you haven't," Jiraiya informed them. "So how do we do it, Iro-Senin?" asked Naruto, activating the Sharingan part of the Fuengan. Jiraiya then performed 3-hand seals in quick succession and disappeared from view. With the Sharingan abilities active, Naruto could easily replicate the technique and did so to prove it. "Not bad, Naruto, but Hinata, activate your Byakugan," said Jiraiya. "Okay," said Hinata, activating her Kekkei Genkai. "Now Hinata, who can you see?" asked Jiraiya, smiling. "I can see Naruto clearly," said Hinata. "And what about me?" asked Jiraiya. "I can see you, but only just Iro-sennin," said Hinata softly. "Arg, you told her to call me that, didn't you, Naruto?" screamed Jiraiya. "Of course, Iro-sennin, it is the truth after all," Naruto said, his trademark smile on his face. "Anyway, as Hinata said, you can do the jutsu itself, but you haven't mastered the rest of the jutsu. In order to get the full potential from this jutsu, you need to be able to suppress your chakra whilst maintaining the jutsu. Otherwise, even though you are invisible, it is still possible for people like Hinata and Sasuke to see you, and others that can sense chakra with more ease can find your position. As it happens, I have a task for both of you to help with this," said Jiraiya, deactivating the jutsu. He then pulled out 2 water balloons. "What are they for?" asked Naruto, deactivating them himself and looking a little lost. "This is the first stage in learning a technique left for us by the 4th Hokage. You need to spin your chakra to pop the balloon," said Jiraiya, handing them each a water balloon. "Okay, well that sounds simple enough," replied Naruto, brimming with confidence, as usual. "Then it shouldn't take too long then. Now come on, you can practice whilst we walk," said Jiraiya, starting to walk off down the road. Naruto and Hinata followed soon after, each starting to try and burst a water balloon by spinning the water with their chakra. It was slightly easier for them, as they could both see the chakra moving around in the balloon, but they still found it difficult to get the balloon to burst. "Damn it, I can't get it to burst. Hey Iro-sennin, why don't you show us how to do it?" asked Naruto. "What, with your abilities? No way, it would be way too easy for you to see how to do it and just copy it. You would be able to do it, right?" said Jiraiya, looking back over his shoulder. "What do you mean? Of course we do it right, and how are we supposed to be able to get anywhere near it if we don't know what it is we're trying to do?" whined Naruto. "No, you wouldn't, because your chakra control isn't good enough. This will teach you, as well as help you with your other. In fact, I have an idea. Both of you lift up your tops and show me your stomach," said Jiraiya. Both Genin looked a little confused, but complied, Hinata blushing heavily. Jiraiya then created the 5-pointed seal that he had previously removed from Naruto in both hands and used it on them. "What did you do to us, Iro-sennin?" asked Naruto. "I put a seal on you that will make it difficult to use chakra. It's the same one I took of you when I taught you to walk on water," replied the Sannin. Enter flashback. Naruto got up from the bushes he had been thrown into and walked back over to the old man. "What did you do that for?" he asked. "Try walking on water now," replied the old man. Naruto was skeptical, but complied. "Hey, I can do it," he shouted, jumping up and down on the water. He walked back to the bank after calming down. "Hey Iro-sennin, what did you do?" asked Naruto. "How many times do I have to tell you not to call me that? My name is Jiraiya," shouted the man. "Anyway, around the seal that regulated the demon's chakra going into your body, I noticed another seal designed to disrupt it, making it hard for you to control its chakra and your own. My guess is it was put there by a man called Orochimaru," replied Jiraiya. "Oh, so that's what he did. Hey, how do you know about Orochimaru?" said Naruto. "He's a Sannin like me. There are only 3 Sannin. We were all teammates at one time, trained by the Hokage, so of course I'm going to know him," replied the Sannin. Exit flashback. "What? Why have you put that on us?" screamed Naruto. "Because if you master this technique whilst you are restrained by it, when you're done your chakra control will be excellent," replied Jiraiya. "Makes sense, I guess, but I still don't like it," moaned Naruto. "Now come on and keep practicing. If you can make it to the 2nd stage in 2 days, I'll take it off," said Jiraiya. He wasn't sure whether he actually would or wouldn't yet, but at least if Naruto had a target to work at, he would manage with more easy. "Alright, I'll be done by this time tomorrow," said Naruto, brimming with confidence. Hinata blushed, admiring his confidence and deciding that she would try and do it at least as quickly if not quicker, in hopes that he would recognize her, having not quite allowed herself to believe that he actually cared for her yet. That evening, they had arrived at their destination earlier on that night. Naruto had managed to persuade Jiraiya, bribed of course, and Hinata that it would be fine if they shared a room, but it also agreed that it should be a twin, not a double. That night he and Hinata had continued to practice, though whilst Jiraiya had gone out to find information on Tsunade and conduct some research. They were getting closer to the point they had really started at before Jiraiya put the seals on them. "Hey kid," said the voice. "What is it?" asked Naruto. "Just thought you'd want to know that if we get into trouble I'll be able to negate the effects of the seal, but only for about 20 minutes, so we'd have to finish it up quickly," said the voice. Glad to hear it, I have to protect Hinata. Whilst you're here, any guesses as to what the technique is or how to do it? Asked Naruto. Yes, on both counts, but I believe that Iro-Sennin was correct in his decision. This will be a far better way. As far as I know, it's similar to the method the fourth first used to create it in the first place, and before you ask, yes, I do know what it looks like and how it's done. When you're a demon, you kinda learn those things when you see an attack being used on you, replied the voice. Okay, well thanks anyway, said Naruto. A neat morning. Konoha. Two figures wearing black cloaks with red clouds on them and straw hats, one with something wrapped in bandages on his back, walked into Konoha, apparently using a henge and false papers to gain access. As they walked by the river flowing through Konoha, their path was blocked by two jonin, Asuma Sarutobi and Kurenai Yuuhi. Well, now who do we have here? Asked Asuma. Looks like a couple of troublemakers. What's your business back in Konoha, Itachi Uchiha? Said Kurenai. That is not your concern, replied Itachi, dispelling his henge. Then the second person walked forward. No, we are not here for a confrontation, Kisame, he said to his companion. Well now, Kisame Hoshigaki, one of the 7 shinobi swordsmen of the mist, listed in the bingo book for assassination and attempted treason, said Asuma. That is also not your concern. If you leave us be, we shall cause no trouble. I am here purely for reminisce sake, stated Itachi. Somehow I find that very hard to believe, said Asuma, as he and Kurenai dropped into stances ready for battle. I can see we're going to have to do this the hard way, said Itachi. Just then 2 squads of Anbu and Kakashi appeared around them. Itachi Uchiha, you and your companion are to come with us, and powerful as you may be, I doubt that you could manage to take us all down or flee from us, all said Kakashi. Very well then, said Itachi, and with that they left. Half an hour later. Kurenai and Asuma are sitting in Kakashi's apartment whilst Kakashi lies unconscious in the bed, then the door opens and Sasuke walks in. What happened to him? He's supposed to be training me. Demanded Sasuke. Just then a Chunin ran in. I heard that Itachi Uchiha came back and he's after Naruto Uzumaki, is that right? He asked quickly before checking who was in the room. Sasuke's eyes shot wide open whilst Asuma and Kurenai quickly looked at the Chunin, narrowing their own. You heard right, said Asuma, knowing that Sasuke would know if he was lying with the Sharingan, even if the Chunin didn't. Half a second later Sasuke was out the door and heading for the town that he knew Naruto, Hinata and Jiraiya were going to stop in first. Great, now go and tell Guy what just happened here. He's going to need to go after Sasuke, said Asuma, and with that the Chunin immediately turned and ran out the door in search of Guy. 2 hours later. Hinata and Naruto are in the hotel practicing the technique. Their progress has been slow but steady. A sudden knock on the door disturbs them from their practice. You keep practicing, Hinata, I'll answer the door, said Naruto, getting up. Hinata then resumed her practice. Another knock on the door. Alright, I'm coming, said Naruto. Damn Iro-Sennin, he muttered under his breath. He got to the door and opened it, but to his surprise, it was not Jiraiya standing in front of him, but 2 men, one that looked like he could be an older version of Sasuke. And another who looked very strange to Naruto, with blue skin, no apparent nose, and 2 V's under each eye. His eyes were a little like Hinata's had been before he changed them, but instead of being a sort of cream with no pupils, they were white with very small pupils. And his teeth were showing even though his mouth was closed, strange large triangular teeth. Naruto Uzumaki, come with us, said the one that looked like Sasuke. And why should I do that? Replied Naruto. Yep, he's just, as I thought, stubborn and mouthy, thought Itachi, but Itachi was prevented from any more thoughts by a familiar voice shouting at him. Itachi, I'm here to kill you. I've lived my life just, as you said, filled with hate, anger, and rage at you, shouted Sasuke, charging up his Chidori. He then ran at Itachi. Foolish, thought Itachi, as Sasuke reached him, and he easily deflected the attack, sending it through the wall. And throwing Sasuke away, Naruto then moved to attack Itachi. Stay out of this, it's their fight, said the other guy, putting something resembling a sword wrapped in bandages in Naruto's way. Stay out of this, Naruto, I'll kill him myself, shouted Sasuke, charging at Itachi again, this time wielding a kunai. This time Itachi grabbed his arm and pulled it across him. He then kneed Sasuke in the gut, let go of him, and before he could even start to fall round, housed him into the wall. Jiraiya then broke through the wall on the other side of the guy with the sword. It seems I got here just in time. I got a message from Konoha that you 2 had come after Naruto, and Sasuke was chasing after Itachi, said the Sannin. Well, let's leave the brothers to it, wouldn't want to disrupt their reunion, now would we, said the other guy. I guess not, Kisame Hoshigaki, said Jiraiya, although his face and body language showed that given half a chance he'd be through and helping the genin. Itachi walked up to Sasuke, who was slowly standing up after hitting the wall and falling to the floor. He then grabbed his shirt collar and lifted him up, switching his eyes to Mangekyo Sharingan. He got Tsukiyomi ready so that As soon as Sasuke opened his eyes he would be caught in the genjutsu. Sasuke opened his eyes. Itachi was shocked, but had no time to stop the technique when he realized that Sasuke was also using the Mangekyo Sharingan, but his was different. They appeared in the warped world of Tsukiyomi, but instead of seeing the Sasuke he had originally left in Konoha, as he was supposed to, he instead saw the Sasuke he had been fighting against. Well, it would seem you also have the Mangekyo Sharingan, but what I'd like to know is how did you get it? Inquired Itachi. Sasuke laughed. Ever wondered where our Sharingan came from? You know, as well as I do, it wasn't written in the scrolls, it's a branch of the Fuengan Kekkei Genkai. Have you ever heard of it? Said Sasuke. No, I can't say I have, replied Itachi. Well then why don't I tell you, it's the Kekkei Genkai of the Uzumaki clan. Naruto managed to activate his. Amongst its abilities it is capable of enhancing both the Sharingan and the Byakugan. Another thing the scrolls seem to be missing is that the Sharingan has a third stage. And it can only be unlocked by the Fuengan, it's called Kajigan, but I haven't got it just yet, however my Mangekyo Sharingan is more than enough to match yours, said Sasuke. Meanwhile, I think it's time I gave some of the Sharingan's more advanced techniques a shot, thought Naruto. Hey ugly, called out Naruto. What did you just call me? Said Kisame, turning around. Naruto had prepared his version of Tsukiyomi. Take me. As Kisame turned round Naruto looked straight into his eyes. The world went dark for a moment and then a different world seemed to form around him. It was hot and dry, and whilst there was just enough light to see by he couldn't tell where it was coming from. The sky was completely black. What the hell did you do? Said Kisame to the Naruto that materialized from the ground up in front of him. Well, since you work with Itachi and I already know he has Mangekyo Sharingan, I take it you're familiar at least in some way with its Tsukiyomi technique? Inquired Naruto. Of course, not that I've ever been daft enough to get on the receiving end of it, replied Kisame. Well, this is an even more powerful version of that, it's called Kakime, stated Naruto. Yeah right, and how would you be able to use a Sharingan technique, said Kisame, preparing to dispel what he thought was simple genjutsu. I told you it's not a Sharingan technique as such, but a more powerful technique. After all, that's what you'd expect from the Kekkei Genkai the Sharingan came from, the Fuengan, said Naruto calmly. No way, you mean I'm trapped in a technique even more devastating than the Mangekyo Tsukiyomi, cried Kisame. Yes, shouted Naruto. At that moment a 10-foot-long spear impaled Kisame through his left shoulder, running straight down, out of his foot, and into the floor with only 2.5 feet still showing out of the 66th person. Then a second appeared on his right side, and the process was repeated. Again and again the spears were withdrawn and plunged into him. Outside the genjutsus, Tsunade had stopped her practice and walked to the door. She was about to wave her hand in front of Naruto's face to see if he was okay when Jiraiya called out. Don't, he's taken Kisame into a powerful that requires eye contact. Sasuke and Itachi are in one as well, the two are either the same one or very close, he said. Oh, okay, said Hinata timidly looking over at Sasuke and Itachi. How on earth could it be taking so long though? Naruto must be give Kisame quite a hard time for it to take this long, but as far as I know from my talks with Naruto and Sasuke's father's, the only reason that I know of for Itachi and Sasuke to take so long is if Sasuke has the Mangekyo Sharingan as well and used it, it prevents the full effects of Tsukiyomi and increases the time it takes, thought Jiraiya. Shuddering at the thought of being in the world created by Kakime, he had been a victim of it once before, thanks to Naruto's father. He almost felt sorry for Kisame being in that world. At the same time in both time we left, said Naruto and Sasuke, again showing the level their teamwork had achieved. Instantly all four were back in reality. Kisame collapsed to one knee and then quickly jumped over to beside Itachi, who was still next to Sasuke, both of which had doubled over in exhaustion. We're going, said Itachi, quickly running at a wall and using a flying kick to knock straight through Kisame following close behind. Naruto, how can you use a technique more powerful than Tsukiyomi and not suffer from chakra depletion? Asked Sasuke, kneeling on one knee and breathing heavily. Believe me, I've used up more chakra than you have, but another part of my family's bloodline, though it's not really considered a Kekkei Genkai cause you can't see it, is that we have very high chakra reserves. Mine is higher than most Chunin, and even some. And it's even higher if I tap into the demon, said Naruto, his trademark smile plastered across his face. Sasuke smiled back. Well, I guess you didn't really need me then, said Sasuke. Like I'd take out Itachi, he's your brother and your problem, replied Naruto, still smiling. He walked over to Sasuke and bent down to help him up. Jiraiya followed him over and stood in front of them. I have to say I'm very impressed with both of you. It took a lot of skill to be able to go up against those two and force them to retreat. I'm not sure it would have been the same if I hadn't been here, but regardless, it's very impressive. I have a feeling that you two are going to be some of the strongest ninjas ever, said the Sannin. Just then someone came flying in. Dynamic entry, shouted Guy. His foot was quickly deflected into a wall by Naruto. Sensei, I suggest having a better look at who you're going to attack before attacking, said Naruto. Sorry about that, all I could see using my forehead protector was two people next to a third who looked pretty beat up, so I assumed the worst. I left my mirror at home, he replied, pulling his foot out of the wall. He normally carries a mirror, thought Jiraiya. Hey kid, whatever you do, don't wear one of those green spandex things, said the voice. Why not? Asked Naruto. If you thought people didn't take you seriously before, then imagine how they'll treat you if you wore that. Oh, and on the subject of dress sense, I think it would be a good idea to get some new clothes. I know you like these jumpsuits. But the only things that shout "look, I'm here, kill me more" are fluorescent, said the voice. I suppose you're right, I guess we'll go look after this has been sorted out. Might as well take Hinata too, thought Naruto. Alright then guy, I trust we can leave it to you to make sure that Sasuke gets back to Konoha safely, said Jiraiya. Sure thing, we'll leave right away, said Guy, using his nice guy pose. Well, since that's sorted, I think me and Hinata will go shopping, said Naruto, walking over to the hole made by Itachi and jumping out of it. Right, coming, said Hinata, running after him and following him out the hole. 3 hours later. Konoha. I and Sasuke walked into Kakashi's apartment. Kakashi still lay unconscious in bed, and Asuma and Kurenai were in the same places they'd been when Sasuke left. Sasuke pulled up a chair next to his sensei's bed, and Guy stood in the open door, leaning with his back on the frame. What happened? Asked Kurenai, surprised to see Sasuke back and fully conscious. She had expected him to be at least unconscious, whether by Itachi's hand when he attacked him or by Guy's hand when he wouldn't come back to Konoha peacefully. I'll let Sasuke fill you in on the details, since I wasn't witness to it, said Guy, Asuma, and Kurenai, then looked at Sasuke expectantly. I arrived to see Itachi and his accomplice standing at the door to Naruto's room. I charged up a Chidori and ran at Itachi. He easily deflected it and sent it through the wall. He then threw me back and I charged at him a second time, this time using a kunai, and again he deflected it. But this time he kept hold of my arm and kneed me in the gut, then sent me flying into a wall, walked over, and picked me up by the collar. I figured he was going to use a Mangekyo Sharingan technique called Tsukiyomi. I was right, so when I opened my eyes we half cancelled each other's out, said Sasuke. Asuma looked a little confused by this. What do you mean? I thought it couldn't be cancelled out, said Kurenai. Well, it can't exactly be cancelled out, like I said, it was only halfway. Instead we entered the jutsu with neither having any control over it and neither willing to really concede. Neither of yous could use chakra, so instead I explained what had happened, but I chose what I said carefully. I did tell Itachi of the Fuengan and of the third stage of Sharingan. It's not mentioned in the scrolls of our clan. After I finished explaining to Itachi, we both realized that the time distortion the jutsu usually creates to be most effective had been drastically slowed down. And instead of it taking only a second or so, it took quite a while. It would also seem that whilst me and Itachi were in Tsukiyomi, Naruto had taken his accomplice into his version of it. We all left the jutsus at the same time, and then Itachi and his partner fled. Most likely because of the large chakra drain, and realizing that if they stuck around they would have to fight against both myself and Naruto. Not that I would have been much good in truth, the chakra drain I suffered was immense, but also against Jiraiya and Hinata, which in their weakened state would have meant certain defeat, explained Sasuke. I think it was shortly after that I arrived. I tried to use my forehead protector to see through the hole in the wall, but all I could see was one figure standing and another picking up one that was on the floor, so of course I assumed that Itachi and Kisame had gotten to Naruto. And so I attacked, only to realize mid-flight that I was going to hit Jiraiya. That however didn't happen, as Naruto deflected my attack and sent my flying into a wall instead. That boy sure has gotten powerful, said Guy. Well now, it seems a lot has happened in the time I've been out. Tell me, how long has it been? Asked Kakashi, slowly raising himself to a sitting position. Only about 5 hours, Kakashi-sensei, said Sasuke. Well, I'm going to need to rest up a little longer, but I should be ready to resume training you first thing tomorrow, Sasuke. In the meantime I suggest you go and revise the techniques of Mangekyo Sharingan and practice the ones you can. I think you'll find that animals will be quite susceptible to the effects of Tsukiyomi. First thing tomorrow we'll get to work on increasing your chakra capacity. If my guess is right, Naruto seemed fine after using his technique, correct? Said Kakashi. Sasuke was surprised. Yeah, how did you know? He asked. I know a lot about his Kekkei Genkai, and that his chakra capacity makes that of any person in this room seem like they've got almost none at all. Add to that he's learning to tap into and harness the fox's power, which gives him a near limitless chakra potential. If he can learn to harness it directly, he'll never run out of chakra without even touching his own, explained Kakashi. The men's clothes store in the town Naruto, Hinata, and Jiraiya were staying in. Naruto pulled back the curtain of the changing room he was in. What do you think, Hinata? he asked. In the hour and a half they'd been there, Hinata had hardly said a word. After about 30 minutes of trying on outfits, Naruto had found the pattern to her blushes. If there wasn't a blush she didn't really like it, if there was a light blush it was as good as his normal jumpsuit. A heavy blush said it was better than his normal, but still not great. If her entire face turned the shade of a tomato it was pretty good, if it turned crimson it was excellent, and if she fainted Naruto went and bought it and asked that anything he bought as a set be delivered to his hotel room that night. Then he would go and wake her up and tell her he decided to put it back. He wanted to surprise her with them. "Naruto, haven't you got enough new clothes already?" she asked, referring to the large pile of 20 or so articles, not including a further 9 he had already purchased, her face that lovely tomato color, telling Naruto that it was worth getting. "Nah, and besides after I've finished sorting out some new clothes for me we're going to go and get some for you," replied Naruto, instantly causing Hinata's blush to turn crimson, and then shortly thereafter she fainted. "Well, what do you think? They're completely different to what I normally wear," Naruto asked. "They're great, with these you won't stick out so much. There is however one more store I think we should pay a visit to before we buy some for her. I noticed a store selling certain patterned clothes, although I don't think they were designed to be camouflage. There are 3 designs that will work perfectly, one for forest, one for desert, and one for night. You virtually disappear in them, they'll be great for high-risk times and special missions," replied the voice. "Okay, well should I get some of them for Hinata as well?" asked Naruto. "Yes, that would be a very good idea," replied the voice. Naruto then paid for the clothes he had selected and woke Hinata. They left the store and headed for the store that Naruto had noticed on their way to the previous store. Once there Naruto found the 3 uniforms he had been told about and tried them on till he found suitable sizes. "Alright Hinata, now you try and find some to fit you," said Naruto, walking out of the changing room, holding the 3 sets of clothes. "Huh? Why?" asked Hinata. "These suits are good camouflage, one makes you hard to see in a forest, other words for desert, and the last is good for night, they'll help keep you safe," replied Naruto. "Okay," replied Hinata, picking out some of the clothes. Then she went into the changing rooms and came out wearing the forest suit. It was light and dark green and brown in apparently random slashes, but they were quite big, the trousers bunching up and folding over about 4 times at the bottom. And the top and jacket came to halfway down her thighs. "No good Hinata, they need to be quite tight-fitting otherwise they won't hide you properly," said Naruto. Hinata seemed very wary, but went back in and changed again. Then she came out and selected smaller sizes. She then went in and tried them on again, then came out again. "What do you think?" she asked, coming out again, this time wearing the desert style. It's 2 shades of yellow and 3rd light brown color in a dappled pattern, as though someone had painted it, be putting dots on it. This time the trousers only folded up once. The top dropped to about 2 inches below her crotch and the jacket was in the same place as before. "They're still too big Hinata, like I said they need to be quite tight fitting," said Naruto. Hinata looked a little saddened but pulled the curtain across and got changed again. She then came out and again got smaller sizes and came out again. "How's this Naruto?" she asked, her face the color of a tomato. This time she wore the night style, mostly black and dark gray with flashes of white and light gray in places. Naruto's jaw dropped, she already had a great figure with nice curves. And her breast looked to about the size of Naruto's palm, but only as deep as his nail. Still he knew they'd fill out and couldn't wait to see them. He mentally shook himself out of his trance. "Perfect Hinata, just right, they won't get in the way or give away your position, and they show just what a great figure you have," said Naruto, smiling. On hearing Naruto's compliment, Hinata's face went from tomato to crimson. She was amazed she was still standing. Naruto just complimented her. Then, still blushing, she pulled the curtain back across and got changed. She then brought out the clothes and handed them to Naruto, who then went and paid for them and they left the shop. "Where to now Naruto?" asked Hinata, expecting them to go back to the hotel. "Now we're going to get you some new clothes, I'm going to buy them and you're not going to look at the price tag," said Naruto. Hinata was stunned. "Naruto, you mustn't, and even so I couldn't not look at the price tags if it's your money," said Hinata, blushing heavily. "Promise me you won't look at the price of them Hinata, I want to buy you only what you want, not what you want to get, because it's not too expensive," said Naruto, looking her straight in the eye. "Okay, Naruto, I promise," said Hinata. She really didn't want to, but something told her there was no getting around it. One way or another he would find a way to get her the one she liked regardless of the cost. They carried on to a store that caught Hinata's eye and went in. She went through all the clothes in the store and to Naruto's satisfaction did not check the price on a single item. She found several items that she liked the look of and tried them on. The second easily caught Naruto's eye as he blushed furiously. It was a dress that, whilst it wasn't very tight fitting, it wasn't exactly loose either. Wow, Hinata, you are so beautiful, and that outfit really brings it out, he said, smiling with his cheeks bright red from the blush. Hinata blushed heavily at the compliment. Thank you, Naruto, she said, smiling and averting her eyes. Whilst in the changing room she had noticed the price, and even though she was a Hyuga and accustomed to expensive items, she still thought it was a little pricey. She wouldn't have even let her father buy it for her. But she had promised Naruto, and she reminded herself that her ninja way was to never go back on her word, and since Naruto knew the only one she had picked out were one she liked. And it was quite apparent that she was comfortable in it, she knew she was going to have to let him buy it. She tried on the last outfit and liked the way it felt. Naruto had managed to inspire a little more confidence in her with her comment when getting the camouflage. And so she had picked something a little more tight-fitting than she was used to wearing. Naruto thought it looked great too, so she gathered up the items and they walked to the counter. Naruto then paid for the items and they left. 3 hours later. The hotel room. Naruto opened the door and let Hinata in first. Her eyes opened wide in surprise when she saw a couple of bags next to Naruto's bed and a box sitting on her own. "Naruto, what is this stuff?" she asked. "Well, you remember the outfits I tried on at the first store that caused you to faint, and when you came to I told you I put them back?" he asked in reply. "Yes," she replied, not really sure where he going, but she had her suspicions and hoped they were right. "Well, I lied, I figured I'd leave it as a surprise. I bought them whilst you had fainted and asked that they deliver them here," said Naruto, smiling nervously with one hand behind his head. Hearing this, Hinata remembered a couple of the outfits and blushed crimson at the memory. "So you bought all of them?" she asked. Naruto nodded his head. "Yeah, so surprised," said Naruto, still smiling. Hinata then looked at the box on her bed. "What's that, Naruto?" she asked, not entirely sure she wanted to hear the answer. "Well, I took a note of your sizes whilst paying for some of the things and decided to get you a little something special," said Naruto, grinning sheepishly. Hinata walked over to her bed and looked at the box. "Can I open it?" she asked. "Please do," replied Naruto. Hinata then undid the red bow that held the lid on the sandy-colored box and carefully pulled the lid off. Inside it was a kimono. She lifted it out and looked at the fox printed on left breast, then she turned it round. And on the back was a larger fox with 4 tails in the shape of a circle. Within the fox was a kanji that read Sierra the Chosen, and on seeing this Hinata promptly fainted. Naruto walked over to her and picked up the kimono, carefully putting it back in its box and moved the box off the bed. Then he gently picked Hinata up and laid her on the bed. He went and got a shower. An hour later. Still at the hotel room. Naruto had taken a shower and dried off, then had selected some new clothing to wear. His choice was a black t-shirt with a skull and kunai printed on it in red and black loose-fitting trousers. He had also bought new shoes but didn't put any on. Instead, deciding that it was best if he got on with some training. He sat on the floor and crossed his legs and summoned 3 clones that he produced 2 water balloons, and whilst 2 clones got on with trying to burst a balloon using chakra, the 3rd clone and the real Naruto put the palms of their hands together and started working on chakra control. 30 minutes later. Still in the hotel. Hinata was still lying unconscious on her bed, and Naruto decided that it would be better if he woke her up, so dispersing his clones he got up slowly with a burst of knowledge generated by the clones and walked over to Hinata's bed. He kneeled down beside it and leaned over her. Bending his head, he gently pressed his lips to hers and kissed her softly. After a few moments, Hinata awoke and started to return the kiss. Naruto slowly opened his mouth and brushed his tongue against her lips. She responded by opening her mouth and allowing his tongue to enter whilst lifting her arms up and wrapping them around him. After about a minute they broke the kiss, but Hinata kept her arms around Naruto. "You really do know the best way to wake me up gently, don't you?" she stated rather than queried. "Glad you like it, and by your reaction I'd say you like my gift to you," he replied. "I do, but I really wish you hadn't got it for me. How did you find such a rare item as that?" she asked curiously. Naruto looked away sheepishly. "I didn't find it, like I said, I took a note of your sizes whilst paying for things and had it custom made for you," he said, blushing heavily. Hinata was shocked, her face flushed crimson as she realized that Naruto really did care for her. She knew how expensive things like that were. Most ninja couldn't afford it if they only did C and D rank missions, but she remembered Naruto's team had been receiving a lot of back pay from their escort mission in which they had come up against Tsubusa Mamachi, the powerful missing ninja from the Hidden Mist village. Whilst the original mission rank had been C, it turned into an A rank quite quickly, and Tazuna, the man they had been escorting, had agreed that if they helped him get home and protected him till the bridge was complete, he and the village would be able to pay the costs for an A rank mission, but couldn't do it unless the bridge was completed. He had also been informed by the Hokage that because of his efforts in defeating both Orochimaru and Shukaku, he would receive pay equal to that of an S rank mission. And the other 3 that defeated Orochimaru with him would receive pay equal to an A rank mission, so it made sense that he would be able to buy these things for her, much as he ate she knew his meals didn't cost all that much. And since he was hardly ever in she suspected that he hardly need any electricity or gas, if he needed any gas at all, so with little cost in bills and food, she realized that he had probably saved up quite a bit of money. You really shouldn't have Naruto, she said, still blushing heavily, but thank you. She smiled warmly and hugged Naruto tightly, then both hers and Naruto's stomachs growled. Maybe we should go eat, in all the excitement we haven't eaten since this morning, said Naruto, helping Hinata up off the bed. Then they left the hotel and went looking for a place to eat. Hinata was expecting Naruto to choose, but he once again surprised her. So what do you want to eat? He asked. She hadn't really given any thought to what she wanted, her thoughts had been to just let him choose and then work from there. She saw a restaurant that looked interesting. I'm not sure, why don't we look and see what they have? She said, pointing to the restaurant. Sure, said Naruto, and they walked over to look at the menu. To the surprise of both of them, it contained dishes from another country. This isn't what we're used to, should we try to find something else that we know we like? Asked Hinata, a little worried that they wouldn't like what they ordered. Nope, I say we give it a shot, replied Naruto, smiling. He then grabbed Hinata's hand and walked into the restaurant. 2 hours later. Back at the hotel. There was a knock at their door. Naruto got up and answered it to find Jiraiya standing on the other side. Now then, Naruto, Hinata, I've found information regarding Tsunade's location, so we're heading off. I trust you're ready to go, said Jiraiya. Finally, it's about time, come on Hinata, let's get going, said Naruto, picking up his bag. Hinata then followed suit and they left the room, went to the reception and paid, then left. 3 hours later. On the road towards where Jiraiya's information says Tsunade might be. Pop came from behind Jiraiya. He quickly started to turn round when again Pop, he hastened his turn to see that both Naruto's and Hinata's hands were wet and they were holding the remains of the balloons. Here, do it again, he said, handing them new water balloons. Pop went both balloons at the same time. Jiraiya was surprised, but carefully hid it. Who popped it first? He asked. Naruto looked at Hinata, who was blushing lightly. That was great, Hinata, you beat me fair and square, said Naruto, smiling, earning an even stronger blush from Hinata. Yes, well done both of you, now then on to the second stage, and since it hasn't even taken you 24 hours to master that one, I'm going to leave those seals on you, believe me, it will be worth it in the long run, said Jiraiya, pulling out 2 small rubber balls. What are these for? Asked Naruto, looking at the ball with a confused expression on his face. Try popping them the same way as you did with the balloons, said Jiraiya. Then both Naruto and Hinata tried to pop the balloons, but found they couldn't. It won't work, we need to put more chakra in, said Hinata. Jiraiya smiled. That's right, you're going to have to put more chakra into it, but still maintain control of it to be able to burst these. It will help with your chakra capacity, as well as your chakra control, said Jiraiya. Here's another tip, kid, since he doesn't seem inclined to give it to you, you need to spin your chakra in more than one direction, otherwise the final technique won't work, said the voice. Okay, thanks, I'll tell Hinata when we get moving again, replied Naruto. Jiraiya then turned around and started walking again, so Naruto moved over to Hinata and quietly spoke to her. I think it will be easier to burst them if we spin our chakra in more than one direction. I'm going to try and manage as many directions as I can, said Naruto. Okay Naruto, I'll try that too, said Hinata. They then continued walking and caught up to Jiraiya. 24 hours later. A small restaurant near their hotel. Okay, so our old comrade came to see you yesterday, and you say that both his arms were useless, any idea what happened to them? Asked Jiraiya, looking at the woman sitting across from him. She looked to be in her mid to late 20s with long blonde hair and a more than ample bust. Next to her was a woman who looked to be in her early 20s with short black hair. And a more modest bust size. In her lap was a small pig wearing a black waistcoat and a pearl necklace. No clue, but it was no normal injury. They looked as though they were dying from the inside out. I've never seen anything like it, replied the woman, taking a sip of sake from her cup. What did he offer you, Tsunade? Asked Jiraiya. The woman poured another cup of sake and drank it in one swallow before answering. He revived Nawaki and Dan in exchange for fixing his arms. I still can't imagine what could have caused it, though, replied the woman. I know what caused it, said Naruto. Tsunade looked skeptical at him. I really doubt you do, kid, she said. Naruto just smiled. Well, how does cutting off all the chakra points in the body right down to the chakra center sound as a way to do it? Said Naruto. Tsunade looked at him blankly and then burst out laughing. There is no way that you could have done that, only a Hyuga would have any chance at that, said Tsunade, breathing heavily. Funny you should say that, because it was a 1 Niji Hyuga that did the damage after he'd been trapped in a few layers of powerful and Manjikyu Sharingan's Tsukiyomi, said Naruto, smiling. Tsunade looked at him curiously. She couldn't quite work out whether he was lying, joking or telling the truth. He's telling the truth. Tsunade, Naruto here, and 3 other genin took out Orochimaru. Of the other 3, 2 are considered highly gifted, and the third is a true genius with an IQ of over 200, said Jiraiya seriously. Oh really, and who were these 3 great genin? Asked Tsunade. Shikamaru Nara, Neji Hyuga, and Sasuke Uchiha. Neji and Sasuke were both using more powerful forms of their Kekkei Genkai thanks to Naruto here. Have a close look at Hinata's eyes, too, said Jiraiya. Tsunade looked shocked. She then took a close look at Hinata's eyes. And reeled back in shock. Those eyes, they're junk again. I didn't know it was possible to get them. How did you get them, girl? Demanded Tsunade. Hinata was a little upset at being called girl, and sitting next to Naruto gave her the courage to do something about it. My name isn't girl, it's Hinata Hyuga, thank you, and I got these eyes because Naruto strengthened my Byakugan, replied Hinata. How did you manage to do that? Demanded Tsunade, talking to Naruto, who simply closed his eyes and reopened them a moment later to reveal his Fuengan. Because I'm an Uzumaki, and I can use the Fuengan, my family's Kekkei Genkai, said Naruto, smiling. Tsunade was shocked. She looked at the bright blue's eyes decorated with 5 stars and couldn't believe it. But she knew it wasn't a trick because she would have seen it in his eyes before if it were. I thought the last of the Uzumakis died when the fox attacked 12 years ago, said Tsunade to Jiraiya. Well, the last was Naruto, who is now the jailer of the fox, replied Jiraiya. You're the container of the Kyuubi no Yoko? Asked Tsunade, shocked at the revelation. Naruto dropped his head slightly and Hinata wrapped her arm around his waist. Yes, I am, and I intend to become Hokage to get the respect of the village, said Naruto, determination blatant in his voice. Hinata smiled and blushed lightly, always happy to see the boundless confidence and determination that Naruto had. Only a fool would take that position, after all every Hokage has died, pointlessly scoffed Tsunade. Actually, Tsunade, we aren't here because Sarutobi-sensei is dead, in fact he's very much alive, thanks to Naruto, said Jiraiya. I won't have anyone disrespect the old man or the 4th like that, you old hag, said Naruto. Oh really, let's take this outside then, said Tsunade, standing up. Naruto followed suit and they walked out into the street, followed by Jiraiya, Hinata, the black-haired woman, and the pig. So you really think you can match me, kid? Said Tsunade. I don't think I can, I know I can, replied Naruto, smiling. The next thing Tsunade knew, Naruto was running at her with a kunai in hand. She swiftly dodged and kicked at him, which he just barely avoided. Then she took note of something. It was only just out of place, and normally she wouldn't have noticed it being too wrapped up in the fight. But something in the back of her mind told her to look. The 3 ninja and the pig weren't moving, they were still looking at where she and Naruto had been, not where they were. Damn it, he's already got me in a, thought Tsunade. She quickly tried to dispel the only for it to be replaced by Naruto and what she thought were 2 illusions charging at her. She quickly analyzed her options. First one was likely to be a feint, typical of a genin. Then the second or third would be the real one. Best way to tell would be to throw a stone at each of the other 2. Whichever it went through was the illusion. She ignored the first and readied herself to kick a stone at each of the other 2, but never got the chance as the first one punched her and knocked her back several feet. Then the second came in. Again she expected it to pass straight through her, and again she was hit and knocked back several feet. Damn, how does he know the shadow clone technique? Only one thing to do now, and that's hit them all, she thought. As the third came in for its attack, she moved back to avoid the punch and hit it straight in the gut, causing it to poof into smoke. Then another attack came out of the smoke and knocked her back again. Shit, he's good. Even Orochimaru never thought to use the smoke as a cover to attack again. It's so obvious it can't fail, you don't even think of it till you've been hit, she thought, moving back to avoid another strike. Back to reality. Sorry, couldn't resist. Neither Naruto nor Tsunade had actually moved. Naruto was just standing smiling and Tsunade looked a hair's breadth from sleep. What's happening? Asked the black-haired woman. Oh, nothing much, Naruto's just got her caught in a, my guess, she's got 2 or 3 layers to break through yet, and when she's on the last layer, Naruto will prepare an attack so that, as soon as she breaks the last one, he'll have the advantage, replied Jiraiya. No way, he's that good with, asked the woman. He doesn't have to be, it's part of his Kekkei Genkai, Jiraiya informed her. And wait a minute, I've destroyed 4 clones already, and I've not seen where they're coming from. This has to be another genjutsu, how on earth? It's probably got another layer after this, thought Tsunade, and quickly dispelled the genjutsu again. This time she was faced with 5 clones. She tried to dispel the genjutsu again, but it didn't work. No way, he only put up 2 layers, something's not right here, she thought. Meanwhile, Naruto started charging up chakra in his right hand, spinning it faster and faster, adding various directions to it. No way, he's advanced that far with it. I wonder if she's at the same level, thought Jiraiya, glancing at Hinata. Then Naruto started running forwards and broke the himself. Tsunade only barely had enough time to get out of the way as he slammed it into the ground where she had been standing. Hold on, Jiraiya, you're teaching him that technique. No wonder his head is filled with dreams of becoming Hokage. You know only you, and the fourth can use it, said Tsunade, rather miffed that Jiraiya was teaching him a technique that he knew the boy couldn't master. He had those dreams already, and besides, he's gotten to that level in just 2 days. Hinata, can you show me how far you've come? Asked Jiraiya, handing her a rubber ball. She then focused her chakra and repeated the same process Naruto had and popped the ball. That's what I thought, they've both made it that far in the same length of time, and they've got a chakra disturbing seal on them, as well as wearing chakra absorbing vests, and wait, said Jiraiya plainly. It doesn't matter, they still won't be able to master it, said Tsunade. I'll master it in 3 days flat, no problem, said Naruto. Tsunade looked at him, as though he should be taken away by the lovely men in white coats, and locked in a nice padded cell. They're so much fun. How about we make a little wager then? I'll give you 5 days to master the technique. If you can do it, I'll give you this necklace, once owned by my grandfather the first Hokage, said Tsunade, feeling pretty confident that there was no way Naruto could master the. I don't really want the necklace, but I'll take it anyway, and if I win I also get to call you Bachan, Oba-chan, and any other similar names I feel like, replied Naruto, smiling broadly. Fine, come on Shizune, said Tsunade, walking away. I said Shizune, quickly following after Tsunade, still carrying the little pig. Later that evening, Shizune came to Naruto and Hinata's hotel room and told them about the curse of the necklace. That may be the case, Shizune, but I know that's not going to happen to me, said Naruto. Shizune was shocked, she couldn't work out how he could be so confident. How can you say that, she almost screamed. Naruto wasn't too surprised, he half expected that. Hinata was a little shocked though. You said she would never bet it, and yet for some reason she decided to, and it wasn't just because she thinks it's impossible. Something tells me she not only thought it might be possible, but might also be likely. The first had no problem wearing it, and nor does Tsunade. If my guess is right, the necklace chooses its wearer, and I think that's why Tsunade chose to bet. Either she thinks it will accept me or it influenced her because it has chosen me. Regardless, I intend to win that necklace, said Naruto, smiling. Shizune was shocked, she hadn't even given those possibilities a thought, but when she thought about it, the kid might actually be right. Tsunade wasn't known for making bets like this one, and had never bet the necklace before, the last 2 people she had given it to. They hadn't done anything to earn it, but Naruto was different, he was going to earn it, and maybe the necklace did know, and if he succeeded it would accept him because he had earned it, rather than be given it, and it was no easy feat to win the bet that Tsunade had laid down for him. Shizune left the hotel room, things didn't really make sense anymore. Tsunade had done something she had never expected her to, and now this boy, she could see that Tsunade saw something of her younger brother Nawaki in him, but he had also given her a lot to think about. She would never blame Tsunade for giving her uncle the necklace, she knew that Tsunade thought it would help him accomplish his dream, but to think that Naruto may actually be right, for some reason that she couldn't quite explain, even she was hoping he was right. And now she was also willing him to win the bet. Thanks for watching my video, see you next time, till then sayonara.